One of the most successful snow animals is solitary and lives most of its life alone. They can be found in the very far north of the Arctic, the polar bear.
Polar bears are the perfect apex predators that like to hunt alone. But what if they get together in a group? As it turns out, nothing stands a chance when these behemoths join hands.
The walruses sense that they're in danger. Using the fog as cover, the bear approaches the herd.
Their clever survival strategies and their raw, unforgiving nature make them true rulers of the North. Let's take a look. Number 1. Polar bear social hunt. We have got a group of polar bears just wandering together, a rare sight since these Arctic giants usually roll solo. But on occasion, when there's a feast available or plenty of ice, they'll call a temporary truce and gather for a social. No one's leading the pack, it's just a loose alliance where everyone keeps to their own. There's no family structure here as well. Now when you see a polar bear hanging out with husky, you'd think it'd see them as snacks on legs, but no. A well-fed polar bear can actually be calm and even play around without viewing everything as prey.
This is a mysterious, magical time for polar bears, often finding dens that go back generations.
These friendly moments are purely hunger dependent though. When the bear's appetite kicks back in, all bets are off. As for territory, polar bears are pure wanderers at heart. They're not setting up dens or guarding land. Instead, they roam massive distances, following seals and shifting ice. They're like nomads, crossing paths with other bears only when there's something worth sticking around for. But once the food's gone, so are they, back to their vast, icy solo adventure. Number 2. Hierarchy in the wild. Here we go, a polar bear dinner party. These three are tearing into a seal, and it's all about practicality over pride. Polar bears aren't exactly famous for their social skills. What's unique here? Polar bears actually have a hierarchy of who eats first. Size and strength determine who gets the best bites. It's like a bear pecking order. The biggest bear will claim the prime cuts, while the others wait their turn or nibble on what's left. It's cooperation by necessity, a survival strategy that keeps everyone in line, at least until the seal's down to the bone. Number 3. Feasting on whale. When a polar bear family stumbles upon a whale carcass, it's like an all-you-can-eat buffet in the Arctic. But here's the catch. Even with plenty to go around, these bears aren't exactly the sharing type. They're making all kinds of growling and huffing sounds, not because they're chatty, but because each one wants the best spot at the table.
Another family challenges her.
Polar bears are solitary by nature, and even family members have to assert dominance to claim their share. The noise? It's basically a bear's way of saying, back off. Or either they are hungry. But more than that, they're hardwired to guard their meal, even if there's enough blubber to feed a small army. Number 4. Outsmarting belugas with the perfect ambush. One of our bears has his eyes set on the belugas, but he's not charging in like some rookie. Nope, he's found himself a nice rock, waiting for the perfect moment. Meanwhile, his friend in the water is all over the place, trying his luck with a full-on chase. Rookie move! You can practically hear the belugas laughing as they glide away. Those guys are built for speed. But here's the catch. These polar bears know the tides like the back of their paws.
The patient bear's rock is now submerged.
As the water rises, it pushes the belugas closer to shore, right where Mr. Rock Sitter wants them. This isn't his first rodeo. He's got experience, and it shows. The younger bear might want to take notes because patience is winning here. In the world of polar bears, sometimes the best hunting tool isn't brute force. It's the ability to sit tight and let the meal come to you. Number 5. Polar bears versus walrus. This polar bear's got his eyes on a walrus, a hefty target, but also a risky one. He picks out a walrus from the group, but it's no easy catch. The walrus slips into the water, knowing it's got the advantage there, and the bear dives in after it. But even a bear as determined as this can't quite keep up with a walrus in the water. These guys are smart. They know when to make a quick getaway. For the polar bear, it's back to the icy drawing board, and his stomach stays empty for now. We've got a full-on bear team effort. I told you how polar bears are the ultimate solo hunter, preferring to keep their distance from each other. But hunger changes everything. Faced with a huge group of walruses, they close in together, putting their rivalry aside for the sake of survival. They spot a walrus group, and one bear makes the grab of the pub. The bear took its meal away knowing other bears were on their way, and he didn't want his meal to be shared. Polar bears are massive. A full-grown male can weigh up to 1,500 pounds. But they're not just big, they're incredibly powerful and cunning hunters. This bear doesn't take the direct approach, which would have alerted the walruses basking on the rocks. Instead, he stays in the shadows, descending from the rocks and slipping into the water to stay out of sight. It's a clever move, showing just how intelligent these hunters are. He glides through the water, closing in, and with a burst of speed, he's on them. See how there is a panic among the walruses, but it's too late. The bear's got his prize, a young walrus. When a polar bear wants something, it's only a matter of time before he gets it. A mom bear comes across a carcass, which is a jackpot. And survival in the wild doesn't come with instructions, but this lesson is all about making do with what you find. And here's the thing, this isn't just about dinner. Mom's teaching the cub how to sniff out food from miles away, and how to scavenge when hunting doesn't work. In the Arctic, you don't waste anything. The cub stumbles around, trying to figure it out, but mom lets it take its time. She knows that one day, these skills will make all the difference when the cub is on its own. Number 6, polar bear play date with husky. This lady is excited to see his bear. Girl, this isn't your average cutesy bear, but she did manage to catch the huskies and the polar bear together. Huskies are clever little thing. They know how to signal to polar bears that they're not prey. Huskies often play it cool, making themselves look more like pack members than lunch. And surprisingly, polar bears can recognize this. So, while the bears are figuring out their own pecking order, the huskies hang back, safe and sound from being mistaken as a snack. See how these two bears are going mouth to mouth.
Yes, yes!
It might look like they're ready to throw down, but it's actually more of a face-off than a full-blown fight. This open-mouth display is a way for polar bears to communicate without spilling blood. Think of it as a test of strength and dominance without the injury risk. They're saying, I'm tough, you're tough, but maybe we don't need to mess each other up today. Number 7, Arctic cutin. Polar bears spend a lot of their time resting and conserving energy, especially when they're with their cubs. This polar bear is sitting peacefully with a cub snuggled up behind, resting his head on the adult's back. It's pure cuteness overload, with another cub nearby, playing with ice. Out of nowhere, a seal emerges from beneath the ice, making quite an entrance. The little cub falls backward in surprise. Sometimes the biggest surprises come from right under the ice. Looks like the seal gave the little one a memory he won't forget. Number 8. Challenging the walrus. Polar bears may be at the top of the food chain, but that doesn't mean hunting is easy, especially when their target is a group of walruses. These animals are huge in size, which we all know, but they come armed with tusks that can easily defend against a predator. This polar bear notices a large gathering of walruses and moves in, hoping for a meal. But the walruses are no easy cat. They sense the danger and begin to retreat toward the safety of the water. The bear tries to attack several walruses, even getting close to a mother walrus shielding her pup. He grabs her, biting and holding on, but she manages to break free. Desperation mounts as the walruses edge toward the water, slipping out of reach one by one. When he finally pins one, another walrus charges in, forcing him to let go. It's a tough reminder that every hunt is a gamble. The polar bear might be the apex predator here, but when it comes to walruses, even the fiercest hunter doesn't always win. Number 9, polar bear hunts reindeer. When it comes to hunting, polar bears are unstoppable and built to dominate both ice and water. Though they usually hunt seals, these apex predators won't hesitate to go after other large prey when the opportunity arises. With their massive paws and powerful muscles, polar bears are expert swimmers, covering distances in icy waters that would be dangerous for most animals. We can see this polar bear swimming right behind a reindeer, sneaking up carefully. Just as the bear gets close, it lunges, pulling the reindeer down and fighting it in the water before eventually dragging it to shore. Polar bears aren't just strong on land, but their swimming skills make them powerful hunters even in water. Once on land, the bear hauls its meal along, using every bit of its strength to secure the catch. Number 10, cannibalism in the Arctic. Here's the cold, harsh truth about polar bears. Loyalty isn't in their nature. These Arctic titans live by the law of survival, and sometimes that means even their own kind isn't safe. When times get tough and food is scarce, they don't hesitate to turn on each other. It's brutal, but that's the reality of life. We see a mother and her young cub running for their lives with a massive male bear hot on their trail. He's not after them for a family reunion. No, he's after a meal. And as gut-wrenching as it is, when he finally catches up to the cub, the mother doesn't look back to fight. She knows she's outmatched. It's heartbreaking, but in the world of polar bears, survival of the fittest rules supreme, and sometimes that means a mother has to make the agonizing choice to save herself. As the ice shrinks and hunting becomes harder, these instances of cannibalism might just become more common. It's a chilling reminder of the lengths polar bears will go to survive. Number 11, hunting with patience. Thank goodness this polar bear has patience. Our bear spots a seal, and for a moment, it looks like it's go time. She's hungry, no question about it, but she knows better than to just charge in. Polar bears only succeed in about 1 out of every 20 hunts. That's a 5% success rate.
The less ice, the more difficult the hunt. In order not to scare away the victim, the giant bear seems to transform into a cat.
Imagine having those odds, but this bear's got her game face on, moving slowly, staying downwind, and finally, she pounces. Success. The seal doesn't stand a chance, and this bear's earned herself a small but blubber-rich snack, enough to keep her going, for now. This one is all about the approach, moving as quietly as possible, tiptoeing on ice, until, of course, the seal catches on and darts away. Just like that. All that effort for nothing. Life on thin ice, literally. These bears are running out of options, forcing them to keep changing up their tactics. Oh, and when they do finally get a meal, let's just say it's not a quick snack. Watching them tear into a catch is both fierce and fascinating. This isn't a cuddly teddy bear moment. It's survival at its rawest. So next time you see a polar bear chilling on some ice, remember, that cute, fluffy exterior hides a survival expert, one who's battling the odds with every single hunt. Number 12, sniffing out food. Polar bears are relentless when it comes to food. With their hypersensitive sense of smell, they'll track down food from miles away. So this polar bear is clinging halfway onto a board with a guy casually feeding him. Seems logical, right? What's safer than holding out food in front of a hungry polar bear? Another guy offers more treats because who wouldn't want a close-up with a 1,000-pound predator? But then the bear pulls himself all the way onto the board, looking around like he owns the place. The crew suddenly goes inside, leaving the bear there searching for food. After a few confused sniffs and glances, he understood where he needed to stay to get food, and he went back to his first position. Clever, or maybe his plan for a buffet. Number 13, curiosity on ice. Up close with a polar bear is a bold move even with the stairs in between. The bear spots a camera through the steps and reaches out his paw, almost like he's offering a handshake. It's a rare moment of curiosity from an animal known for its strength, giving us a glimpse of his surprisingly gentle side. Keeping those stairs in place was definitely a smart choice. Number 14, seal hunt. Every day is a battle for survival in the Arctic, especially for the world's largest predator. These bears are built for extreme condition, with layers of fat and dense fur that insulate them against freezing temperature. Their main diet is the seals, which they hunt by waiting near breathing holes. Similarly, we can see this polar bear roaming, cleaning his face and keeping his senses sharp. Suddenly, a seal surfaces nearby, and the bear goes from relaxed to alert in seconds. Within moments, he's caught the seal, ready to feast on his meal. Polar bears rely on stealth and their extraordinary sense of smell, capable of detecting a seal from miles away. They burn massive amounts of energy with each hunt, so missing out on a meal is a big setback. A successful catch like this isn't just dinner, but it's survival fuel for the bear's next journey across the ice. Number 15, always hungry but growing. Here's the mystery that stumps even the best wildlife expert. How do polar bears always seem to be on the brink of starvation, yet grow to be the largest land carnivores? It's like a perpetual hungry mode in these giants. The answer lies in their incredible metabolism and the energy-packed meals they rely on. One good meal of seal blubber, rich in fat and calories, can sustain a bear for days, even weeks. Nowadays, those big meals are harder to come by, so they're constantly on the hunt, always acting like they haven't eaten ages. Number 16, curious encounter. Polar bears are naturally curious, and by curious, we mean they'll casually walk right up to investigate anything unusual in their territory.
This is a big, confident bear.
When this camera crew shows up on snowmobiles, the bear's attention is captured. As the bear begins moving closer, the crew senses it's time to keep a safe distance. They speed off, but the bear stands there, still watching them, unmoved by their attempt to leave. Eventually, one of the drivers heads back briefly to encourage the bear to retreat. And finally, the polar bear decides to leave, giving the crew a bit of breathing room. In the north, the locals always get the last look. Number 17, camera crew's Arctic escape. Anyone would get a bit nervous with a polar bear sprinting toward them, just like this camera crew did. As soon as the bear starts charging, they hit the gas on their snowmobiles, smartly putting some distance between themselves and this unexpected visitor. In the Arctic, playing it safe around polar bears is the only smart move. Number 18, a mother bear and her cub. Polar bears are incredible survivors, able to spend weeks at a time under thick snow and ice, conserving energy and waiting out harsh conditions. They're practically built to handle the Arctic's toughest season. We can see that after weeks beneath the ice, a polar bear finally emerges, and right behind is her cub, ready to greet the frozen world. The mother bear treats herself to a slide down an icy slope, sprawling out in the snow like she's enjoying her very own winter playground. A moment that's both fierce and oddly adorable. But things get interesting when the polar bear decides to wander over to a nearby cabin. The polar bear casually looks through the window at the camera crew inside, giving them a close-up they probably didn't want. With a bear of that size just outside, staying inside feels like the best plan unless they're looking for a quick exit from the Arctic permanently. Number 19, staring down the beat. Imagine facing the largest land predator on Earth and standing your ground like these two men. The bear may be a bit thrown off by these humans not moving an inch. Polar bears are known to assess threats carefully. Unlike many predators, they don't charge recklessly. This bear sits down, sizing up the situation, probably trying to understand why these two small figures with strange objects in their hand aren't running away. And when one of them throws a stone, it decides this isn't worth the effort. Slowly, as if making a calculated decision, the polar bear turns and walks away. This scene is a rare moment where human courage and respect for nature meet the bear's instinctive caution. For the bear, it's a moment of curiosity and confusion, and for the humans, an unforgettable standoff. Number 20, polar bear defends cubs from dogs. It's one thing to see a polar bear, but it's another to witness one in full protective parent mode. In the Arctic, polar bears are fiercely protective of their young, ready to face any threat to keep them safe. This polar bear with two small cubs facing off against three barking dogs charging straight at them, the bear is forced into defense mode, standing his ground to shield his cubs as the dogs keep coming, barking relentlessly. This scene is tense, with the polar bear fighting to keep his cubs safe. It's a wild reminder of how intense Arctic life can get. Number 21, small snack, big effort. This polar bear's meal is an eel, a little snack compared to the usual massive seal. You know, polar bears can hold their breath for up to 2 minutes, which is super handy when they're diving after something quick and slippery like an eel. They don't just rely on brute strength. Instead, they show patience. They can actually smell their prey underwater from quite a distance. So, while an eel might not be a massive meal, in the Arctic, every bite counts. Number 22, face-to-face with a polar bear. Imagine if you are out on the ice in a transparent cage, feeling pretty safe, until a massive polar bear strolls over, sizing you up like an unusual snack. Well, this man decided to put himself in this situation. Polar bears see us as food. They don't attack if they are threatened or to protect themselves.
It's systematically trying from all angles.
They want to eat us because we are their meals. Simple. If that is not terrifying enough, I don't know what it. Look how it starts pawing and breathing heavily on the plexiglass, almost as if it's trying to melt its way through. I'm honestly just hoping the cage design is as sturdy as promised. This man surely has guts. The bear is calm, focused, and unhurried, like a predator assessing its option. The bear is not roaring, just annoyed she can't get the lid off dinner. With one last push against the plexiglass, the bear decides it's not worth the effort and wanders off. I have respect for the plexiglass. Number 23, polar bear cuddle session. Polar bears aren't exactly known for their cuddly nature, but we've got one lying down with a guy like they're sharing a cozy moment. This polar bear is more of a cuddly dog than an apex predator right now. Yet here he is, hugging the guy back and even licking his head. Instead of slowly backing away, this guy decides to dive into a swimming pool. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? This guy even pulls out his camera for a selfie, as if this bear's his Instagram buddy. Polar bears in the wild aren't exactly known for their selfie skills, but here, it's like the bear's in on the joke, posing for the camera. It's oddly adorable and absolutely surreal, watching this bear act more like a pup than a predator of the north. Number 24, feasting on chick. Polar bears have an incredible sense of smell. They can sniff out prey from nearly a mile away, even through thick ice. See the bear on Cooper Island, feasting on newly hatched black guillemot chicks. While seals are their main diet, polar bears are opportunistic feeders. When seals are harder to find, they turn to whatever's available, like bird eggs and chicks. It's a harsh reality, but for these Arctic giants, survival means adapting to the changing landscape. Number 25, polar bear plays with a dog. Look at this polar bear hanging out with a dog, like they're best buds. The bear gives the dog a little pat on the head. Then he switches it up, using the other paw like he's really into this whole petting thing. Maybe he's just showing off his softer side, or he's making friends in case he needs a snack later. Either way, it's a wild friendship. I hope you enjoyed this wild journey through the Arctic with us. Which one of these polar bear hunts was your favorite? Let us know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and hit that subscribe button to join us for more videos. Thanks for watching.